Airsoft, just like any other hobby, has build and buy. But what if we combined both? What is going on, you guys? My name is Cisco, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a disclosure, an expose, if you will. I might get in trouble for some of the things that I might say, but I do it for you. And I'm going to be talking about the truth about Airsoft GI Custom Guns, the history of them, how we make them, and why. All right, guys, before I get into the juicy details, I'm gonna need your help. Subscribe. Guys, we need it more than ever. We do this for you guys. If you want to support us directly, please go over to airsoftgi.com, pick up all your Airsoft goodies. Maybe you'll find an Airsoft GI Custom that you like. Use the Wombo combo for the best savings in Airsoft. And don't forget to follow us on all of our social media. Now, starting off with the history of Airsoft GI Customs and why they came around. Well, back in the day, Airsoft guns out of the box sucked. Seriously, like even high-end guns sucked. And there was the demand for better performance out of the Airsoft guns, which is why the aftermarket for Airsoft exists. So there are all these upgrade parts that you can buy for whatever Airsoft gun that you want and install them yourself. But Airsoft GI saw that there was a demand for people who didn't have the time or the know-how to install these parts. So they came up with these one-of-a-kind Airsoft guns that had top-of-the-line parts internally and externally out of the box to outperform. But they also wanted to offer something readily available for everyone, even especially for the people that are starting off. So they came out with their FMG4 line and the G4 line that still had upgrades out of the box that shot really good compared to Airsoft guns back then. But as time went on, Airsoft manufacturers started releasing better quality Airsoft guns, which is good because we all want better quality Airsoft guns. But it kind of made the G4 and the FMG4 line kind of obsolete. So Airsoft GI continued to focus on creating these one-of-a-kind boutique Airsoft guns that still have that really good performance and really good looks. Let's address the elephant in the room, and that's the price of the custom guns. If you go to airsoftgi.com and check out the custom guns page, you'll see all of the custom guns that we have to offer, and you'll see the price. And you'll be very surprised to see that they are quite expensive. They're not made for most people, but let me break it down for you so you guys can understand it. The price goes into the parts of what is being installed. Now, the biggest part is going to be the base Airsoft gun, right? And then you got to factor in all of the upgrade parts, maybe the gear set, compression set, and then let's go into the externals of the stock, the pistol grip, optics, flashlights, other accessories, rail systems. And we take all of those prices together, add it up, and then we give it a discount. So when you're buying an Airsoft gun, you're actually getting all of the parts at a discounted price. Now, the one thing that we can't discount is the labor, but that labor goes into the expertise of our tech department. They are highly skilled and they go in there and give it the love and care that these Airsoft guns need so they perform very well. And that's something that a lot of Airsoft manufacturers can't offer just because they're mass producing them, right? But again, if you were to get a base gun and all of the Airsoft parts and go to somewhere and pay a tech to do it, you're actually going to be spending more because you're going to be paying that labor fee. You're going to be buying all the Airsoft parts and the Airsoft gun all together at its normal price versus it being already done for you and tuned and discounted. One thing that players don't consider is the time that it takes to build an Airsoft gun. Now, you might think it might be more affordable for you to buy a base gun and buy the parts that you want and install them yourself. But if you're a builder, you know that there is this trial and error process of you getting those parts, installing them, tuning it, going to play, and then seeing what's wrong with it, then going to adjust it again. Maybe you'll have to buy extra parts, wait for those to come in, and tune it again, do this whole process over and over. And if you are one of those builders like me and find it enjoyable, more power to you, which is why Airsoft GI offers the amount of Airsoft guns and all the upgrade parts that we have. But for players like Boaz, who don't have the time or the know-how to do this trial and error process, we still want to offer a gun with that same level of performance out of the box, which is why the price seems very scary up front, because you're paying for it all up front compared to, you buying your base gun, you buying one set of upgrade parts, and then later on buying another set of upgrade parts. So you know, you continue to pay into that one airsoft gun versus paying for it all up front. All right, guys, we're out here in the warehouse, and the first thing to consider when building a custom gun for Airsoft GI is the base gun. The base gun is actually going to be the biggest factor in the price of the airsoft gun. So I pulled two different guns that our techs would consider, being the Lancer Tactical Gen 2 and the VFC Avalon from Elite Force. Now, these are two differently priced guns in two different tiers of airsoft. Now, the Lancer Tactical Gen 2 is known for being affordable and upgradable. Now, why would you want to use a more affordable gun for a custom gun? The reason is the cost. It's lower, so it'll keep the price of the overall gun lower as well. But it still has the upgradability that our techs want to be able to provide a better quality gun. So with it being lower, they have more room to upgrade the gun into a indoor monster. Like, it's made of polymer, right? So it's really popular for the indoor CQB community because it's still very rigid, but it's lightweight. And because it's affordable, they have the options to put more high-end parts into it to increase its performance. But over here, the VFC Avalon right here, it's a high-end gun and it shoots amazing out of the box. And there's not a lot that the techs need to do to it to get it shooting more reliably. So what they could do is maybe do a Milsim inspired build because it is full metal. They can accessorize it, go into the gearbox and just tune it up a little bit and try to keep the costs relatively affordable. They are trying to do this balancing act of pricing to give you more accessible airsoft guns that are within your budget. But what you'll see a lot of the time is they'll use a high-end gun out of the box and put high-end parts into the gun, upgrading it even further, which is what you will see with our super upgraded custom guns that are like 800 bucks and more. I'm here in the storefront now, and I picked a few parts that are really popular for our techs to use, or some of their favorites. Now, the parts are going to change between build to build because it will change on what their vision is for the airsoft gun. Like FPS, you're not going to want to have a CQB gun shooting 400 FPS, right? So the spring is going to be a big factor. So we do have a wide variety of springs that they would choose from so they can get the correct FPS to the build that they want. Of course, they're going to be at different strengths and from different manufacturers, not a big deal. But another thing is the compression. Our techs will go into each custom and tune the compression to make sure there's no air leakage and it is efficient as possible. So you're gonna expect a piston change, the cylinder head, piston head, air nozzle, things like that to make sure that your compression is airtight. Now, another thing that they would change is going to be the motor. Now, different motors for different build sets. So you can get a high torque motor or a high speed motor, depending on what you want, more trigger response or more rate of fire. Now, you do have to consider that you can't just drop in a motor to an airsoft gun. Going back to what I said about the Airsoft GI Touch, you're going to need to shim your gear set to the motor to make sure that everything is aligned properly and it's being as electrically efficient as possible. Speaking of gear sets, we have gear sets. We have the Siege Tech gear set here that is a high torque gear set made for high FPS builds to give you better trigger response. And then we have the CNC Production 12-to-1 high speed gear set for better rate of fire. Now, again, guys, you don't want to put a high speed gear set into a 500 FPS gun or vice versa for trigger response in a low rate of fire gun. You can play the balancing act and find out exactly how you want to do it, but our techs have the knowledge to do so. Another thing that you would want to consider in your build is going to be a MOSFET. A lot of the times our techs will change out the standard trigger housing for an aftermarket MOSFET to give you the better trigger response, rate of fire, and programmability. So one that they like to use is the Gate Titans. Another one is the Perun Active Braking Plus Plus, and one that they have been using recently is the Zion Arms Nebula MOSFET. This one is actually really dope, guys. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I highly recommend this, and they do too because they've been using it a lot. And then the last thing our techs consider is going to be the accuracy and range of your airsoft gun. Now, if the gun doesn't have a good hop-up unit out of the box, they'll swap it out. Ones like the Max model or the Prometheus hop-up unit, both of these will give you
more adjustability, and a more solid platform to hold your inner barrel. Now, a lot of airsoft guns don't come with a tight bore inner barrel out of the box, which is the huge factor of accuracy. So they'll swap it out for a tight bore, maybe a 6.03 or 6.01, something in between, so you can make sure that your shots are hitting your target at range. Those were some of the internal parts, but they also upgrade the external parts. Now, the externals will determine how the gun looks, how functional it is, how cool it looks. So some parts that are really popular with them are going to be rail systems. This is the ZevTech wedge rail and the Griffin Armament gridlock rail. Both of these are M-LOK, but they do have key mod and standard Picatinny as well. These are just a couple of the different varieties that they have to offer. The length and the style will determine the overall look of the gun, obviously, but then there are other accessories like rail covers, and then you're going to want to think about vertical grips, hand stops, angled grips, things like that for functionality. Obviously, at the end of the barrel, you're going to have just an exposed barrel. So maybe you want a blast shield or a mock suppressor or some type of flash hider, or maybe even a tracer unit for indoor use, so you can turn your airsoft gun into a laser beam. These are all other things that make the custom gun a little bit more accessorized, a little bit more personalized. And then of course, ergonomics for like pistol grips and stuff. And then how do you aim? Of course, they're gonna include some type of optic, maybe a short dot magnified optic like this, or a red dot, something that is a little bit more used for CQB. Again, it all will determine on the type of build that they are going with.
As you just saw, Airsoft GI techs go into the guns and modify them heavily, which means manufacturers can't offer a warranty on them because they've been modified. But Airsoft GI has you covered because they offer a 45-day warranty for any of their custom guns. And even though our techs give all the love and attention that they can possibly give to the Airsoft GI Customs, sometimes things happen. Like maybe there was a quality control issue with an individual part, or you know, the universe just is in retrograde. But Airsoft GI has you covered, so in case those issues occur, you have that 45-day warranty and have the tech support to get your gun repaired for free. Now, if you were to do this yourself, the moment you modify your airsoft gun, you void your warranty. And if you were to have the issue with one of those upgrade parts that you have, you don't have a warranty on those parts typically. So you're out of that money, you have to invest more versus having the tech support and knowledge of Airsoft GI. All of that being said, the Airsoft GI Customs sound good on paper, but looking at the price, it may not be for everyone. And that's completely understandable. You know, if you want to go and buy your own airsoft gun and pick out your own airsoft parts and do the trial and error process, more power to you, because I think that is arguably one of the more enjoyable sides of airsoft. But for those people who don't have the time or the knowledge or don't want to do this trial and error process, we still want to offer a high quality airsoft gun that performs great and looks good. Now, again, if you want to do that trial and error process, by all means, go for it. But Airsoft GI gives you the benefit of offering you the complete airsoft gun already built out at a discounted price with a warranty and the tech support of our highly skilled techs. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in for, you know, my disclosure of the Airsoft GI Customs and the process and everything that goes into them. Hopefully this answers a lot of the questions that you have, and make sure you send this video to a friend or other players that have questions about the Airsoft GI Customs and what goes into it. Again, we need your support. Oh my goodness, we need your support more than ever, guys. So go to airsoftgi.com, check out the lovely Airsoft Customs, or pick up all the airsoft parts and accessories that you need over there. It supports us directly. My name is Cisco. Thank you so much. See you later.